Coming up on today's show, book lover Doris Mosedale is back.
Great fun and good reading.
Domestic diva Wendell Nissen has more kitchen gadgets.
When you have a cheese board, it's very important you have all the right tools.
And New Zealand Woman's Weekly chef Julie Leclerc cooks a healthy choices recipe.
Tastes fantastic.
Hi there, welcome to the show. Great to have you with us once again. Today, pretty excited, it's Book Club Day, and I've got the delightful Doris Mosedale from Dimmock's Books. Great to have you with us, Doris.
Hello, April.
What have you been up to?
Gardening, pruning for this half year, sort of getting rid of those rose bushes and cutting down on the hydrangeas.
Are you a bit of a green thumb?
I have a good man who looks after the garden. He's called a husband.
I need to get one of those.
I like to give directions and look to see that it's being done. Move this tree that way, and
very good.
And then I go and put the little bedding plants in.
And make it look pretty.
No, I buy them, put them on the driveway,
and
run over them.
I love you. Now, we're talking books today. What have you got for us?
I've got a great mix of books, but I'm going to start off with quite a light-hearted read, which I think women will like to put their feet up and relax with. And it's from the author of The Devil Wears Prada.
Oh, that's me.
That went
Love
on to
it.
be a huge movie and sort of sold millions and millions. And it's called Chasing Harry Winston, Lauren Weisberger. And it's the story again of, the formula, three women get together, have a few drinks and realise their lives are not going the way they want them to. So they put a timeline on it and they say, this time next year we want to have achieved one thing in our lives. And of course one of them wants to wear a big multi-carat diamond on a ring, which she's going to get from Harry Winston, which is a very famous jeweller in America. And if you read Vogue or Vanity Fair, you'll always see big ads for Harry Winston. And anybody who's going to a film Academy Awards will be wearing big jewellery. So it's light-hearted. It's Sex and the City, but with a little bit more relationship between the women as friends, a bit more gentle.
I like the sound of this woman. Emily is going to find a man on every continent for some no-strings fun.
Absolutely. She's had enough of being Miss Prim and Proper and the sensible one in the group, and she's going to relax.
Let her hair down.
Somebody else wants a baby, somebody else wants to decide their relationship, and of course, somebody wants a big diamond on their finger. But great fun and good reading and quite intelligent writing. It's not total froth. It's not total
I'm going to start with this one.
You can have that one.
Perfect.
Now, my next one is really a big hit. It's the new James Bond novel from a very good writer, Sebastian Faulks, who is renowned for writing literature.
How come he was allowed to follow on from Ian Fleming?
The Fleming family wanted him to do it.
Okay.
So the Fleming family said, he's the person we want to write this book. And having read it, I loved it because it's set in 1967. It's James Bond. He's just had a 3-month sabbatical because he's had a tough time in Tokyo, and his wife of a couple of months has been killed. And so he's really feeling a bit out of it. And he's visiting Rome and he's been to Barbados. And then he gets the call from M saying, come back into the office and we've got a job for you, which means he has to go to Paris. What I liked about it was Sebastian Faulks, if you haven't been to Paris, sets the scene for you. So you can walk down the street. He tells you how James Bond is dressing, where he's getting his clothes from. He's not drinking alcohol at the moment, so he tells you what sort of orange juice he's drinking. When he does describe a martini, he describes, the classic James Bond martini. And there is always the nasty man in there as well. Basically, what I really liked about it was this is a book that you could get for somebody who wasn't a committed reader, who is, say, from 13 years upwards, up to 56-year-old James Bond fans, and they will find something in it. It will absolutely turn you on to reading.
And no doubt when it becomes a movie, it'll be Daniel Craig.
It'll be Daniel Craig, and people will say, he's the classic Bond, but this is classic Bond writing, but 40 years on.
Devil May Care, brilliant.
Now, my next book is a new one in a trilogy of books, which 2 or more have yet to come, and it's called Promise of the Wolves, and this is for those who like the Diana Gabaldon sorts of stories. You have to use your imagination here. It's set 40,000 years ago, and it is a time when wolves are ruling Eastern Europe.
Is it caveman time?
It's a bit later than caveman time, but the humans don't mix with the wolves, and the wolves are meant to be purebred, and if there's a half-bred wolf, it gets, if there's a mongrel wolf, it gets thrown out the pack and left to fend for itself and eventually die. The humans don't mix with the wolves. Then the story jumps forward 15,000 years, and then you realise that the half-breed wolves are making contact with the humans, and is it the end of the pack as we know it? And it's a great leap of faith from the reader to get yourself into the situation where it is, but once you go, it's a rollicking good read. It's history made real, with animals, with humans. It has all the, and I bet you people are going to be clamouring for the next 2 books. You can almost see them putting on their little book list saying, I want this one for Christmas, I want this one for my birthday. So Promise of the Wolves, Dorothy Hurst, first book from her, and I think she's going to be a champion writer.
Great.
Now, my last book is quite special because it's absolutely true.
Is this your favourite?
I'd have to say the Bond was my favourite. But I think I really enjoyed reading this, and I read it in manuscript form, and as I was reading it, I was just dropping the pages on the floor in the bedroom. And it's where underpants came from. Where'd you get your undies from? Where do you get your undies?
Where do you get yours from?
Marks and Spencer's, if you really want to know. But Joe Bennett had been to the warehouse. He'd bought a packet of undies for $8.99, 5 in a pack. He's driving home and he thinks, well, how much do they really cost if the warehouse are going to make some money and you pay $1.50 GST and the freight to get them to New Zealand? So he sets off for China, and he goes and finds out at the warehouse office in China where the underpants came from. They send them to the factory that makes the elastic. Then they send them to the factory that makes the cotton and does the testing to see how many times what the wear feasibility study on the cotton is. And then he goes back to the farm where the cotton is made and groomed. And he works out that people are getting 10 cents, a pair for these undies. So when you look at it, $2 undies, 50 cents for GST, 10 cents for the cotton, 10 cents for the fabric, 10 cents for the... Nobody's making any money on it anyway. It's a really interesting book. But what I liked about it was that he really enjoyed going to meet the Chinese people. He really enjoyed going around the factories. They are spick and span factories. He really enjoyed the science behind it. And so next time you go into the store and you pick up a pair of knickers...
Think about the person who's at the beginning of the production line. Exactly.
Somebody doing the road testing on how well the cotton is going to wear. So Joe Bennett, and it's not just for men to read. This is a book that can be equally read by women, and it's just a fascinating look at another culture. And the enjoyable part about it is that he really enjoyed going and discovering it. It was lights going on for him.
And because he enjoyed it, we will too.
We will too, because it's written with great enthusiasm.
OK, so a great chicks flick this week.
Absolutely.
This one? Your pick of the week?
My pick of the week has to be Devil May Care, because I think it's the next generation James Bond. You've got 2 more sets of people who haven't read this book that are going to be absolutely enthralled by it.
Do you know I've never actually read a James Bond book? I always just see the movies.
Oh, they're a great cult. I mean, they bring a lot of money. First editions of James Bond books bring thousands and thousands of dollars. Go and have a look in your cupboard.
Indeed, I will. Well, on that note, thank you, Doris. Wonderful to have you here again.
Look forward to it next time.
I do love the books you bring me, and we'll see you soon. Stay with us. After the break, we're heading into the kitchen arena. Wendell Nissen is going to be here. She's our kitchen whiz, and she's going to show us some new and groovy things that you can play with at home. Back in a moment.
The Auckland Festival of Photography runs until the 22nd of June. Check the website for details. The Hastings Poultry and Pigeon Society annual show is on Saturday the 21st of June from 2 p.m. and on Sunday the 22nd of June the Wellington Cat Club show is at St Patrick's College Hall. And in Glenorchy, the Midwinter Market is on Sunday from 10 o'clock in the morning.